3 o'clock hour ago, so we will call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Norte Local Transportation Commission meeting. Susan, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Altman.
Here.
Commissioner Borges.
Here.
Commissioner Greeno.
Here.
Commissioner Howard.
Here.
Commissioner Inscore.
Here.
Chair Short.
Here. Thank you. You would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, we'll enter into our public comment period. Anyone wishing to make public comments regarding matters either on or off the agenda and within the Commission's jurisdiction may do so at this time. However, the Commission is not permitted to act on non-agenda items. Do we have anybody online that is?
No one online.
We have no one online. Tasha's with us.
Well,
though,
Tasha's online.
Good deal.
Yes. So.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll close the public comment period, and we'll move to item number 4: election of a chairperson and a vice chairperson.
I move to nominate Blake Inscore as chairman for our city representative.
We have a motion for Blake Inscore as the chairman. Is there a second?
Second.
We do have a second. Any other nominations? Let's see, do I need a public comment on this? Robin, do you wish to say anything to us?
Did you bring snacks?
You just never. Okay. So,
We needed them last night.
Susan, would you pull the vote, please?
Commissioner Altman.
Yes.
Commissioner Borges.
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno.
Yes.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore.
Yes.
Chair Short.
It used to be Chair Short.
Oh, yep. And Tasha Alstrand. She's online,
Yes.
right? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, here's your seat.
Bring the computer. Congratulations. Oh, thank you. I might have done this. I've been here long enough. Great.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I might take this.
Yeah.
New pair of
I must have hit
spectacles for
something.
the
Said attached.
car work.
I wanna make sure that you're-
Oh, yeah, I need my coffee. Yeah, that's that afternoon stuff. Okay, we need to take a nomination for vice chair. It needs to be a county representative.
I move that we nominate Joey Borges as vice chair.
I'd second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any
I didn't
other,
plan that, but-
any other nominations? Any public comment? All right, then would you please poll the vote?
Commissioner Altman.
Yes.
Commissioner Borges.
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno.
Yes.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Short.
Yes.
Tasha Alstrand.
Yes.
And Chair Inscore.
Yes. All right, we need 2 Finance Committee members. Tamara, just since we have some new people, you want to refresh everybody of why we have Finance Committee
Yeah,
members?
we have Finance Committee members for a couple of reasons, and but the primary reason is it gives you establishing a Finance Committee is part of our policies, and we have a long and complicated policy about finances and how our finances are managed. That is a requirement of the Department of Transportation. That it also gives you direct access to Chowell, Benz, and Hartwick. Not that anybody can go ask them anything. I mean, we're not hiding anything here, but the Finance Committee can choose to meet with Chowell, Benz, and Hartwick, who provides our accounting services, or to the auditor's office, whatever. All of our work goes through Chowell, Benz, and Hartwick first, and then they make direct requests to the auditor's office when money that is being housed there needs to be transferred, and they've got that system like down pat. They do an amazing good job working together on that. But if you have any questions and you don't want to ask me your questions, you can go. It's really the Finance Committee should feel absolutely free, as any one of you should, to go to CBH and ask questions. We sometimes have meetings, review the finance policies. If there's something significant that changes, we need to take a look at. If there's a question about the audit process, if there's a finding that needs to be discussed, the Finance Committee and Chowell, Benz, and Hartwick, with or without me, would have a conversation about that before a commission meeting or before the commission accepts an audit report. So that's the general rule. Now, I'm going to make an unusual and out-of-line request already, that given that Commissioner Short is the only person who has an authorized signature card right now, and that we're processing January's payments in the next few days, and I can't, until the meeting minutes are accepted, we can't sign any checks. So this leaves me in an odd sort of no man's land space of nobody's authorized to sign any checks that will be going out to the consultants and everybody who works for the commission within the next, 15, 20 days, certainly before the minutes are accepted for this meeting. When the minutes are accepted for this meeting, then only then does it become final. So we have to wait for the minutes to be accepted before these decisions in the meeting to be final per the bank. I know we're recording and whatever, but that's what banking mandates. So
would it be, if...
Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion to nominate Commissioner Short and Commissioner Greenow to the Finance Committee?
I'll second that.
Great, very good. I guess actually that's, is the action that I'm to appoint?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's,
There you go.
the other thing is
Well, you
the
just bypassed
availability.
you, Chair.
Yeah, that's okay. The availability to go to Charles, ours and, yeah, whatever, you know what I meant.
so all
To sign invoices and checks.
right. So the chair of the Transportation Commission and the two finance committees will be on a banking signature card and be authorized to sign checks. It shouldn't be all on one person. And Jerry Hemmingson, thank you, Jerry, did it for a decade. He pretty much just did all of it for a decade. He'd just bebop over to CBH, get them signed, and be done with it. It's not some big onerous chore, but it's still a responsibility.
Okay, then I will appoint Commissioners Greenow and Short to be our Finance Committee representatives.
Okay. And you will all be hearing from Matt Wakefield about getting this sorted.
Okay, very good. All right, we'll move on in our agenda. Item number 6, we're going to adjourn to the Policy Advisory Committee, and we have a couple things on consent, the meeting minutes from the 3rd of January 23 and 25th of January 23.
Move to approve consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any public comment? All right, we'll close public comment then, and would you please poll the vote?
Commissioner Short,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno,
Yes.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Tasha Alstrand,
Yes.
and Chair Inscore.
Yes. All right, move on to the draft overall work program. Cameron?
So it's unusual that, except for the overall work program, that I bring a draft document, but it's the primary work of the Transportation Commission. So every year at this meeting, perhaps the next, but usually at the February meeting, we review the overall work program in detail. And so when people ask me in the community, what is the work of the commission? What do you actually do? What I do in detail is in the overall work program. It's the scope of work and the budget and the timelines for what the Transportation Commission is going to produce in the next fiscal year beginning July 1. And so the Technical Advisory Committee are representatives of the city and county, the harbor, the Yurok Tribe, the California Highway Patrol, and Caltrans all serve on the TAC. The TAC traditionally meets before the commission. They didn't meet just last week. We discussed the overall work program last month, getting together the details for this. Their direction to me was to prepare a draft, bring it to the commission for you all to see. In a month or so, I will have a final document for everybody to take a look at. It'll be bigger, longer, more detailed than some of this. most of the words, I need to caution you, most of the words in this draft are words from this current year. There's a lot of work to be done still on the overall work program. But before I sink a ton of time in it, I bring it to the commission and say, generally speaking, this is the general work in the budget, how we see our priorities, and we being the technical advisory committees. The technical advisory committee, so that's, the group of folks who I just sort of outlined. There are 2 representatives, by the way, from the city and county, and then 1 from the other jurisdictions. So they come to me with the needs, and we put together this work program. And this work program represents the recommendations of the TAC in general for the work products. So I'm going to go through it, just zip right through it. Stop me, wait till the end, whatever you want to do. But it's important for me that my Transportation Commission understands the work that we do. So the work element A is the long-range planning coordination. And this, for the most part, it accommodates my time and work for the Regional Transportation Plan Development area, Product 1, that is the general daily work of the commission. It will be attending the road safety audit that we were talking about. It's attending Caltrans meetings, tracking and keeping track of funding opportunities, just all of the daily stuff that comes up for the Transportation Commission's daily work that has to do with regional planning and that interaction with the state or with the tribes, with other folks who we work with regularly. So product 2 is a last chance grade update. I've reduced my time in this work element for next year because this project, the Last Chance Grade project, is churning along, and it's now in the hands of Caltrans. So there's a bit of time in there for me to attend meetings, report, whatever. The Transportation Commission decided several years ago to pull this out as a separate item. We maybe could even just lump it back in, but I like the idea that it's just a separate item. We're tracking Last Chance Grade, and this gives us an opportunity to not forget that that's on our plate too, even though at this stage in the highway development, it's a Caltrans project. The 2024 Economic and Demographic Profile is a document that we have produced every year for a decade or more, and it's probably one of the most popular things that we do. It gathers all of the data for our economy, working with CSU Chico's Economic Development Branch. I can't remember what the Center for Economic something. I'm spacing it. It's probably on here. Center for Economic Development. And it's a little bit of work, but it's a big and important work. And what it does is it allows us to track data over time from a single resource. So if you want to look back at 10 years of data about a certain data point, and the current year profile only looks back 3 years, we've got all that data. Just send somebody to me. But all of the departments of the county, of the city, our tribes, the airport, all of these folks use this demographic profile for their grant writing to support their premise about population, the school system, all of those points of economic data. It's about a 25 page document that is just full of our economy and data. It tracks the travel and tourism industry, just, all of the data for our community in one place. Work element, the mapping, the regional mapping, and this is an important one. I've just passed it. Regional mapping is a project that is essentially a resource for our public works departments, also for the tribe's public works, for folks who need GIS data for their streets and roads and all of the ways that it's accessible. That's transit data, that's the callbox system, that's now on a GIS data system that, we're working, the next request from the city is about ADA and where do we need to have sidewalk improvements and curb improvements to address ADA challenges. But when we started this work, we had no GIS data. And so we're working on this to really expand our GIS data. The bulk of the available funding is in regional mapping for next year's overall work program. So it's, you know, this will, by the time we get to a stability part, this will really be a maintenance project, maintaining our regional mapping, but there's still a lot of work to be done with our regional mapping, just getting it up and all of the basics on our GIS data maps for the city and county and, you know, and others to work with. So we'll go to work element B. Work element B is my overall work program development. It talks about the things that we're talking about today. The time tracking, the reporting to the state for the regional planning assistance funds. It's the RPA funds which fund the majority of the work of the commission, function like a grant. So it's not a grant that we have to apply for. It's a grant that we are given, but there are quarterly reports. There's, you know, there's all of the data tracking information needs to be sent to the state. You know, I send it to CBH monthly, and then I send quarterly reports. And this just takes care of all of the current year and next year overall work program development. Work element C is our public participation. That's our covers all of our Transportation Commission and TAC meetings. Our partnerships and planning agreements. So that's if we're working in partnership with, you know, a tribe to accomplish something. You know, the city in last year's, we contributed some funding and participated in with some work for them. So it just allows for partnerships. It also covers the rural counties task force work that I do, which is all the rural counties in the state, all of the people who have my position in rural regions in the state. We get together every other month, and we also attend other meetings. So sometimes you get your hand raised or you raise your hand, and then you're a representative for a certain topic. For the rural counties, it's sort of like everybody has to carry a bit of water sometimes. So that's what rural counties is. The North State Super Region is a collaborative that was developed, about 10 years ago now, and it represents the whole North State, whether you're in a rural region or not, and it includes the Shasta area. So if you think about, if you drew a line sort of around the Shasta region, south of Shasta, across the state, all of that north is the North State Super Region. And there are transportation challenges that affect the North State by geography, regardless of the population of communities. And so we have this collaborative, and we meet. The North State Super Region will be hosting a California Transportation Commission town hall meeting in a couple of months, probably in the Redding area. The RTIP development is the funding, that's work element D. It's the developing and maintaining the transportation improvement program and managing the planning, programming, and monitoring funding. Again, the planning is transportation planning. What we've been talking about, the monitoring, is tracking your funding, where your funding is, if your projects are being delivered on time, all of that work. You know, nobody likes monitoring, but we do it. And the programming is making the money work. So if you're like, what is programming? You could maybe call it funding, but it's not really funding, but it's a transportation planning term that to me means making the money work. I'm going to find a way to program a project. You're finding a way to make the money work for that project, but just because it's funded doesn't mean that you have money. It's programmed but not funded. So it's kind of a little bit of an oddball term that we do. This funding also supports our project representation for our STAA projects that are in litigation on the US 199, 197 corridor. Our STAA projects are covered under this. The TDA, the Transportation Development Act and Fiscal Management area, covers everything that we do to accommodate for transit funding, including our audits. So the TDA audit is a fiscal audit of the Transportation Commission that covers all of our funding, not just our TDA funding. It's a mandate by the state. Every 3 years, we have a performance audit. The triennial performance audit every 3 years. I think we did ours last year. I can't remember, but What the performance audit does is it takes a look at the last 3 years of the commission's work, and it produces an audit that says, yes, you did your work, or no, you didn't do your work. So if, folks will ask, well, how do they even know what you're doing? It's like, well, they have an idea because, we go through these things. They see a project in the overall work program. I'll bring a contract back for approval. Then, somebody will start seeing, checks coming through, paying a consultant team to deliver the work. Then we'll have a final product. And so you really can sort of track the process of what we're doing that way. But the TDA audit is the backstop. It's, somebody coming in and I, give them about a bazillion files, and they really take a look at my overall work program and assure the community, the state, that I've delivered the work that I've promised. So that's the triennial performance audit. There's also a small area in here called the Social Services Transportation Advisory Council. The SSTAC meets about once a year, and it's a mandate also that we have a Social Services Transportation Advisory Council. They are, for example, they're volunteer organizations or nonprofit organizations. The Senior Center has a representative. The Health and Human Services has a representative. I think we have an odd list, but it's people who are providing social services in the community. We used to have a rural human services representative. We don't right now, but it's just, it's an odd list of folks from different social services. The College of the Redwoods used to have a representative, and I don't know if they have an active representative right now. But every year I get this group together. I heard this group together. They figure out who's going to join and represent their own social services component for transportation. And we talk about, access to transit and transit opportunities, how we can better serve folks who have challenges with transportation in the community. And that's the role of the SSTAC, and it's a mandate. Our service authorities for freeway emergencies, or SAFE system, Service Authority for Freeway Emergencies. Those are all the call boxes on the side of the road. We have a diverse work here. So the Transportation Commission, it's actually the only thing that we own is the call boxes on the side of the road. The rest of our work is planning work, but I tell folks, I don't own the city roads, I don't own the county roads, I don't own the state highway system. Do we participate in the planning and the development and the improvements? Sure, but it's not my infrastructure. The call box system is the only thing, those call boxes on the side of the road, that the Transportation Commission owns as an item. And this is the funding that directly comes from the DMV fees that are paid in our community. It goes to this account, and then it comes a very small portion, but a portion of them comes back to the Transportation Commission to support the safe system in our community, all the call boxes. The climate change adaptation planning, what do I have here, is an opportunity. This is put in here as a placeholder for the grant for which we are applying. So we had a special meeting a couple weeks ago. We agreed, I was directed to apply for this grant. This climate change adaptation planning information is in here. This is very preliminary, all the language, the budget, everything. By the time the final overall work program comes to you, this will be fleshed out in detail. I'll have the information for this. The budget will change, everything, but this just gives an idea about a placeholder for the climate change adaptation planning that we expect to be doing as a result of the grant. We won't know until July. August, sometime this summer, Caltrans is saying, but when the awards for those grants are sent, so we don't know that yet. And then the last item, which I've been labeling work element Z, is the Caltrans information element. This is the current year work element Z. I will get an update from this when I get a response from Caltrans about my overall work program after their review. But this is the work that Caltrans is doing in the Del Norte region through their planning efforts. So if you're wondering what Tasha's working on, in the current year, or her team, you know, the Caltrans planning team in the Del Norte region, it's outlined in work element Z. There isn't any budget tied to this. This is the work of Caltrans. But I think it's important to, you know, sort of pay attention and track because, you know, while they know what we're working on, we also need to know that they're delivering the work that they're promising our community. So we take a look at this. In the next TAC meeting, they will have a detailed review of the current year Caltrans information element to the TAC. If there's anything that we think in specifically that the Transportation Commission would want to hear about, we'll bring it back to the Commission. If you want to see that presentation, you know, we can certainly bring it back, but it's a review of the detailed work of Caltrans. So our next steps, Caltrans, I will draft this document. There will be what I call a prelude. There will be a bunch of language before the budget pages start and the work elements start. And, you know, a cover, table of contents, all of those normal document things. I'll package all this up in preparation for the TAC meeting and in the current month, at the end of this month, and the commission meeting next month. I will send it to Caltrans for a review. Caltrans reviews the documents and writes a comment letter. And they'll say, you know, you really shouldn't be doing this with your RPA funding. This really isn't allowed. Or they'll say, it's a better practice to put in a placeholder work element for your grant rather than leaving it out. I mean, this is a question, how do I include work that isn't funded yet? And the recommendation of Caltrans is to include it as a placeholder work element and then we will amend the work program if we don't receive the grant. So they'd say include it in and take it out if necessary rather than the other way around. You know, I've been doing this long enough that generally we hit it pretty right the first time, but they'll have comments. They, you know, will appreciate some language more than others or encourage me to include some, you know, point of data that I omitted from a work element, something. So there will be some comments, but they get a comment letter back and then I consider the comments of Caltrans, I update the document as needed, and then I'll bring it back to the commission for a final approval. And that's our go forward work. There's a lot of paperwork with Caltrans to take care of after that's done, but that's just all staff stuff. But it's when the commission approves the final overall work program is when I have the July 1 go-ahead to get started on next year's work.
All right, very good. Anybody have any questions for Tamara on the overall work program? All right, very good. I guess we'll move on to discussion items. Dr. Fine-Bridge.
Tasha? Yeah.
Yeah, hi. So the project manager for this project, David Melendrez, was supposed to come today and give an update, but he wasn't able to make it. So he had made a request to move the item to the next month's meeting, hoping that that can be accommodated. But he did provide just a couple of bullet points that I could share. He's hoping next month that he can attend the meeting with the resident engineer, who is Jess Clifton, and they'll both, you know, provide an update and answer any questions. They said they're currently reviewing contractor submittals, so not a whole lot is really happening right now. But that he also plans to work with Del Norte Local Transportation Commission and our Public Information Office to strategize a public engagement plan. So that's kind of where they are right now.
All right, great. Thanks, Tasha.
Thank you.
Anything else on our discussion items, Tamara? 199 Elk Valley?
I would like all of you to click on the crowdsourcing tool. I put it in here as a reminder to check out what the crowdsourcing is. When folks come to you with a problem about transportation and you're not quite sure, you can certainly send it to me, but that link brings you to the crowdsourcing tool on the Transportation Commission's homepage. It's on the upper right-hand side. It's in a different color. You click on that, and that's the place where you can report a comment about a condition, a problem, excuse me, or even something you appreciate, whatever, on a map of our community. So I put that in there as a reminder to, that we have this crowdsourcing tool, and the more we use it, the better and better it gets. So that's an encouragement to use crowdsourcing. I don't have any updates on 199 at Elk Valley Crossroad. That project is moving forward.
I
don't
can
have any-
provide some updates, Tamara. if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, David Melendres, he's the PM on that project as well. So Dr. Fine and this one. So the PID has been signed and it will be programmed at the March 22nd CTC meeting. At that point, we can have a kickoff meeting to open the environmental phase, which Norte Local Transportation Commission will be included on. So that's where we are right now.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have an update on last chance grade. Anybody have an update? No? I did want to give you a progress report on our climate change adaptation planning grant, which we just authorized a couple weeks ago. I received a contact from the harbor, and the harbor would like to be a partner in this grant and it's an excellent opportunity to cover the challenges at Anchor Way in addition to Highway 101 for all of the problems that we had at the same time. So it makes our application stronger. Elk Valley Rancheria would also like to be a partner in the project. So they're sub-applicants. The Transportation Commission will be an applicant. The harbor will be a sub-applicant. The Elk Valley Rancheria will be a sub-applicant. They have, land and concerns for that area of Highway 101 for their tribal lands. And so we're all working together. The planning document would cover the Anchor Way and the South Beach area, which is all just one big Z. You guys know your own community. It's all one big C right there. And and it's all South Beach. I mean, somebody was saying, well, Anchor Way still covers the South Beach area. The road has a different name, but the ocean area is still South Beach. So we're all working together. We are having weekly meetings, and we're going to crank this thing out and get it funded.
Awesome. Good job. All right, anything else for us, Tamara? Anything from the board up here? Mr. Howard?
I want to thank the persistence of this commission, and in particular Tamara, for driving forward for the last 4 years the culmination of what we sat through today for the last 2 hours, which was a safety audit for Highway 199. As many of you know, this has been a particular issue, not only for Del Norte County, but also for Curry County and Jackson and Josephine. And Caltrans finally allocated the dollars necessary and contracted with Jacobs Consulting to do the safety audit. The initial piece of it is estimated to start now, which we sat through today, and then potentially wrap up this fall.
Awesome.
At a cost of $350,000. Obviously, the outcomes of this by a third party, not Caltrans, are hoped to inform Caltrans on potential avenues to where they could fix from a selection of items, in particular countermeasures, as they called them, to correct areas that are problematic. The one glaring issue out of the report that we had a chance to see today was, and I did not realize it was as high, the data went back 10 years, and there was close to 500 significant incidents on Highway 199, and the level of fatality during that period was significantly higher than I ever anticipated. There was even specific locations, and I could name 4 that were above 10 fatalities at these specific locations apiece. And so some of those areas we've been talking about for years because they've been a concern of this commission and Caltrans and held up in litigation by the Center for Biological Diversity, Friends of Del Norte, and EPIC. But it does cause me, seeing this data today, a lot of resolve to continue pushing forward.
Thank you. Appreciate that update. And thank you, Tamara, for keeping us on it. Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. I know that on the county side and the city side, this is nothing new, but I would really like to make the Pebble Beach bank stabilization project a priority of this commission. I believe that it's a safety issue in the long term, and it's a huge project for both of us. On the city side, it's up to what, $30 million approximately at this point, and on the county side, it's approximately what, $60 million. I know it's tied up in coastal right now, but I feel this commission is a positive, could be a positive driver for that project, and I'd like to see us make that a priority.
Okay.
Don't disagree with that at all.
You know, Tamara, anything that we as a commission can do to advocate for that, I know that you do that already, but if there's a strategy that the commission can weigh in and help with that, we would certainly value your insights on how we might do that.
So how the projects come to the commission, like the bluff stabilization for both the city and the county, is, you know, somebody's got a problem. You know, the city has a problem, or the county, or both have a problem. They bring the problem to the TAC. Actually, somebody usually gives me a call because, you know, that usually works better. They say, okay, we talk about the problem, we talk about potential solutions, funding sources, match funding, how we, timing, whatever, how we're all going to pull it all together. And so then I will ask them, okay, here are my ideas. Here's the letter that I need for you to write to me asking for this potential solution. They write the letter, we bring the letter to the TAC, the letter goes in the commission's agenda packet, the commission approves or doesn't approve the request. So in general, if you're wondering how something comes from the city council to the Transportation Commission, it generally comes through the TAC. So that would be, you know, one of the city staff members, that, you know, the city engineers or the county engineering and planning. They would bring it to the TAC, and then the TAC makes a recommendation to the commission. It comes on your agenda. Even if the TAC doesn't recommend it, sometimes it comes on your agenda because you're the deciders. You know, the TAC isn't the decider. So that's how things work in general. The bluff stabilization, I'd say we talk about it in just about every TAC meeting we go to. The staff is trying to sort it out, plan it out. If there was a way that the Transportation Commission could fund, help make that problem go away, I think that, you know, we would absolutely do it. But that comes from your staff, the city and county, the harbor staff, the whoever, a tribe staff, to the TAC, to the commission, is generally the path that those projects follow. In terms of a priority, it's already a priority. You know, I mean, it's a failing roadway. It's already a priority. I don't know of anything more that we can do as a Transportation Commission to move those projects along. If I did, I'd be raising my hand. You'd have an item on your agenda packet. The TAC would be working it out. So we're at, you know, a pretty significant stall right now in the project development. And then there's, you know, this big looming cloud of match funding, because if you're looking at $100 million and you need even a very small match amount, it's still a lot of money that we don't have. So you know, it's really hard for all of us who are working on this to understand how we're going to come up with a solution. But just because we don't have that clear vision in mind doesn't mean we're not doing the work. I mean, we're still doing the work. We're doing everything we can to move it forward. I don't have a timeline for when a solution is going to come forward with this. I think your staff would know more about that than I would know. But they're not shy about coming to me for help when they figure out they need it. And you all know that. They're not shy. They're going to come to the TAC. They're going to call me up. They're going to come to the TAC. They're going to write a letter request. You're going to get that request in your agenda packet. Then all of you can sort out how we're going to allocate the dollars.
And I wasn't trying to say that nothing was happening, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we're making it a priority as a commission, just because it does affect the city and the county, and we are both on this commission together. I think that we can do way more together than we can separately, and this is one of those great opportunities where we can partner and hopefully lobby. I mean, I'm not sure if it would make a difference, but I think that we should be lobbying the governor directly on this. This is a large enough project that he may have the ability to sway some of this.
Well,
Maybe Congressman Huffman.
So
you know.
I can write a letter of concern, I can ask for a letter of support, but in the truest terms of lobbying, the Transportation Commission doesn't lobby.
Okay.
So the city can lobby, the county can lobby, but it's not allowed with the fund sources that we have for us to participate in lobbying. And so, but again, I can write I can write a letter of concern. I can, you know, ask for solutions to be provided for this project. I bring them up in meetings, all of those things, but I can't lobby in the technical term of lobbying.
Okay. But we can send a letter from the Transportation Commission, is that correct?
Yeah, we can send a letter from the Transportation Commission, but not lobbying. We could send it expressing concern about the, you know, the failure of the roadways, the barriers we're facing, the uncertainty.
I think that, and I agree with you, Jason, I think that what we need to do is encourage our respective staffs to come up with that concern based on what their roadblock is, and then bring it back to each of us, and then maybe even a joint letter, one of these, hey, let's put wet signatures on it and put 10 names, and you know, if that means we send it to every single member of the Coastal Commission, whatever. I think that if our respective staffs can get together, and maybe even with your help or the TAC, and say, this is a roadblock right now, and we got to get by this, and then, because I think it's a good idea. I think that doing, while it may not come directly from the commission, there's no reason why we can't do that together.
I guess my concern is, I mean, the project started estimating at, what, $10 million originally for the city portion. And as time goes by, it exponentially increases. And I mean, the cost itself becomes prohibitive as time goes forward. And I mean, we still have access supposedly to these emergency funds, but
Well, yeah, and
we
even
can't
even
get to a project without getting that
even if we're
permit.
getting it 97% funded by the time you put all those together, that 3% is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden we're talking about $100 million between the two of them.
Right.
I mean, so,
Right, but the progress forward, the map forward for these projects is going to rest with your Public Works departments, not with the Transportation Commission.
Okay.
So, I mean, and I'm not kicking the can, I don't kick the can, but it's really where the responsibility for the project development and all the communication lies is with the Public Works Department within the city and county. The Transportation Commission's role, we are the Regional Transportation Planning Agency, and we focus on planning those preliminary steps, like with the road safety audit. I mean, we won't be implementing, the Transportation Commission won't be implementing anything with the road safety audit. The road safety audit, any changes made to US 199 are going to be happening by Caltrans. But as the planning agency, I can ring that bell every day for 4 years saying, road safety audit, road safety audit, road safety audit, and I know some people find it annoying, but if you don't ring the bell every day, you don't get your work done. And I'm, you know, and you can't, I mean, I honestly believe that if I didn't ring that bell every day about road safety audit, I mean, not literally every day, that we wouldn't have it. It would have just been dropped off, and this, you know, this big work effort to come up with safety solutions on our by far most dangerous highway wouldn't be done. So Regional Transportation Planning Agency has a different role from the public works departments of the city and county. Do we work together? All the time, but this is one of those areas where it really, at this stage, it rests with public works, not with the Transportation Commission, to push together, pull together a solution there.
Okay, I just don't want it to get to the point where, hey, it's in the back of it's in the backfield, it's in planning, it's in permitting. It's when people don't hear about it,
Yeah.
it tends to go away.
Right.
So, but it's not going away. It's that road could eventually fall into the
Sure.
Pacific Ocean. We don't want that to happen.
Sure, and
So-
I, if I were going to give an update on it, I would be inviting the city staff and the county staff into this meeting to give an update. Because the information is held by them, not by me, for where they are in the process.
All right. Thank you.
All right, very good. Anybody else? Anything?
I had one quick question, just off of Commissioner Howard's comments about 199. It reminded me, upon the failure of 101 north of Gold Beach, conversation you and I had, Tamara, you mentioned the glaring importance of our pathways, 199 and 101 South, and that there would hopefully be an opportunity for us to comment in our 199 lawsuit. Was there ever an opportunity made?
The time for participation is closed with the courts. We are simply waiting for a ruling. So in the folks who are litigating, Friends of Del Norte Center for
Biological
Biodiversity, Epic.
Epic, yeah.
They're stating that Highway 42 is our alternate route to 199. People should just take Highway 42 up in, the Oregon coast. Well, right, when US 101 is closed, any way between here and there, we completely lose access to Highway 42, which we did for quite some time, and the highway is very unstable in several locations there. So that's where, when something so far away from us becomes very important is when we just can't get our basic goods movement. So it seems like a long ways away for some, but when you think about we lose access to Highway 42, which is supposed to be our backup route for STAA access, or our only route coming from the north, we don't, we're just cut off then.
Yeah, it seems like every other year, the Highway 190 or 101 slides out in one section or another, north of us or south of us, or.
Yep, it's also unstable in Oregon, yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right, very good. Then
I
we
have
will,
one more thing.
Oh, thank
if
you.
that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, at the last meeting, I had a request for an update on the Cushing Creek project. And I just thought I'd follow up that work should be complete by June 2023. It's currently 90 to 95% done. And I'm completing the whalers on the soil nail wall right now. And we'll need to wait on weather late spring, early summer to complete the high friction surface course and then do the striping. And I also wanted to point out that Brandon Larson is on the call. He's the new Deputy Director for Planning and Local Assistance, and he has a lot of history with a lot of these projects, having worked in local assistance. And I don't know if he has the capacity to speak, but I just wanted to let everyone know that he is here listening.
Is he the S131106?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and look at that, he just raised his hand. Let's see if I can work this out. Can you do this, Mackenzie? Okay,
I think I just unmuted.
thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Can, yes.
Hey, yeah, so this is Brandon Larson. I'm the Deputy District Director for Planning and Local Assistance, filling in for Brad Medham after he retired. So yeah, just dropping in here, and if you have any questions or anything like that, I'd be happy to either answer them or take them back to exec management.
Great, thank you. Appreciate you popping in, and we will probably have plenty of things to ask. All right. Anybody else have anything for today? Okay, then we are going to adjourn as the Policy Advisory Committee and reconvene as the Norte Local Transportation Commission. And I'm looking for a motion to approve and adopt the actions that I guess we didn't actually take any actions today.
we did.
What did we take?
We have a chair, we have a vice
Oh,
chair.
that's right.
We
did.
have
did. Okay.
minutes.
I forgot.
Move to approve.
So I have a motion by Member Short. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by people down at this end. Any public comment? All right. Would you please pull the vote?
I have a quick point of order on item C, under Policy Administrative. The action was to
Oh,
do a motion and a second and pull that. piece that-
Susan's absolutely right. That
So we
it-
need to
it
go
is
back
only
to
to
that one.
direct staff.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right. I do need direction to move forward with the overall work program.
Oh. And you did get a motion in a second?
No,
We didn't get a
we
motion
did
in a
not.
second.
We just went forward.
So we're going to go return to being the Policy and Advisory Committee, and I'm looking for consensus direction from the commission for staff to move forward with the work program. We have consensus?
No, we need a motion and a.
We actually have to have a motion.
Yes.
All right.
So moved. Yep. I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Short, second by Commissioner Greeno. Would you pull the vote?
Okay. So Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Short,
Yes.
Tasha Alstrand. Did she leave?
Our meeting just shut down. I mean, I just saw it, mine just shut down.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting Tasha did too. But
I'm here.
Oh, she is here,
Okay,
good.
great. And
I'm
then-
not, I'm just not here.
Chair and score.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Now we will officially adjourn as the Policy Advisory Committee, and we will, Commissioner Short, if you would make your motion again to,
I would make a motion that we approve all the actions taken as the Norte Transportation Commission.
Second.
Mr. Altman seconded. Any public comment? All right, now we can pull the vote.
Okay. Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Short,
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno,
Yes.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Chair and score.
Yes. All right, we will adjourn till our next regular meeting on Tuesday, March